This video made a lot of people mad. So basically there's this TikToker who posted a video about how she was thinking of divorcing her husband because of something to do with household chores. Apparently he was not doing enough of them and this made her pretty mad. Now her husband seems to be a lineman, someone who does some dangerous sort of physical work. And she's basically a mom who takes care of the kids plus does some social media TikTok stuff. Now this video actually ended up getting 10 million views on TikTok and about 100 million on Twitter because people are really mad after hearing her story. Now she did a bunch of follow-up videos sort of defending herself, so we'll check those out too. But let's start with the original video.
I've been with my husband for almost 20 years, but about 3 years ago, I was strongly considering divorce, and I want to talk to you about why. So I'm going to tell you the story of the day where I thought to myself, maybe I don't want to do this anymore. My husband and I had 4 kids. We both worked full time. We had been together for 16 years at this point. We've been together since high school. And on paper, I have an amazing husband. He is incredibly supportive. He's kind. He's loyal. He's a great dad. He's very hands-on. He's an active participant. He's always present. Like on paper, what else could I ask for?
All right, so great start so far. The husband seems to be a loyal, loving, great dad. So what actually went wrong?
But in reality, my experience is very similar to the experience of other women. I had this amazing husband who on paper was great, but I was incredibly frustrated and burnt out from our marriage and from motherhood. Because what happens to so many of us is that we marry these amazing men and we have amazing relationships and then we have kids. And when we have kids, women tend to carry a disproportionate amount of the work in the home, the work of raising kids, and the mental load. And that is exactly what happened to us. About 3 months after my 4th baby was born, I remember looking at my husband and saying, I need more. I need you to do more. I am exhausted. I am in charge of everyone and everything in this house. Every night when we cook dinner, you ask me what to make. Every day when you drop off the kids at daycare, you ask me what they need in their backpacks. I am the project manager of this home and I need you to do more. And he looked at me and he said, okay, just tell me what to do. Right? Every woman has heard this. Just tell me what to do and I'll do it.
Okay, so they're splitting responsibilities as you do in a marriage. Basically, the husband is earning the money as a lineman. Pretty hard work, physically tiring as well. And she basically takes care of the household chores and takes care of the kids, which is also a pretty important job. Now, she wanted some extra help, so she went ahead and asked her husband, and he tried to do it.
And I said, okay, something that would make my life easier is if in the mornings when I came downstairs with the 4 kids, because I do mornings by myself, the dishwasher was emptied, the dishes were put away, and the trash was taken out. That would make my life so much easier because when I've got the 4 kids running around and the baby crying, I can't be looking for their favorite water bottle in the dishwasher. I just need to know it's clean. And he said, yeah, of course. What? Yeah, I'll do that. That's no problem. And so, of course, he does it. But then I have to remind him, and then he forgets, and then I have to remind him again. And there was this one morning where I woke up, and I went to put something in the trash, and it was overflowing. And I went to get my son's water bottle, and it was in the dishwasher with all the other clean dishes. And I felt so disrespected and unseen and unvalued at that point in time. And I remember texting my husband being like, what happened? Like, why didn't you do this? And he said, sorry, I was running late for work. And I remember thinking, oh my God, he doesn't see me. Because what he's done has now made me late for work. And he doesn't care about that.
Okay, I feel like we're skipping a couple steps here. So you asked him to do something. He did it a couple times, I guess. And then, he tried to help. He tried his best. But one day he forgot because he was late for work. And now you are thinking of divorce and thinking that he disrespected you. You feel underappreciated, undervalued. And should he have said something if he was unable to do the work? Sure, but he probably also just forgot. He's literally a lineman, so I imagine it's a pretty hard job and you can get tired and you're probably more focused on work at that point. But of course, if your wife asks you to help out around the house as a good husband, you should be helping out as well. If you have the extra time and energy. I imagine this guy did not, but I feel like something like this is completely understandable. Like it's a one-time sort of thing. He forgot. I don't think you need to go absolutely crazy about this or post it on TikTok or whatever. I feel like it's just an understandable mistake that sort of happens. And, you're a bit tired from work and you forget. I'm definitely not one of those people who thinks everything in the house is the wife's job or something like that. Obviously, it's okay for the husband to help out and he should, you guys are a team, but you got to understand if he's working like a manual labor job like that, it's going to be pretty hard.
He doesn't care about the impact on me and he doesn't see How every single thing in our home happens because I ask him to do it, or because I do it myself, or because I planned and organized it. The diaper bag is full because I filled it, right? I put the wipes in there. And I felt so frustrated. And I remember thinking, what's the point? What's the point of doing this with someone else? I might as well just do it alone. And it's not because my husband didn't love me or he did anything to me. And it's not because I didn't love him, but because I felt so taken advantage of in our relationship. And this dynamic, it doesn't happen by accident, right? It's not like my husband did it to me, but we've been raised in this society that tells men and women who they should be in marriages and what it looks like to be a good mom versus a good dad. And we know the bar for moms is way up here and the bar for dads is way down here. And we fell into these norms.
Okay, so I'm trying to be pretty charitable to her here. Like, it's understandable to be frustrated dealing with 4 kids and stuff. I'm not saying that's an easy job at all. Obviously, being a mom and raising kids correctly is a very hard job as well. But to think that he's somehow taking advantage of you in the relationship when this man is working as a linesman out there, you know, working a dangerous ass job to provide for his wife and family here, and then you go to TikTok ranting about him to 10 million, actually 100 million people right now, I feel like he would be pretty embarrassed. Like, I'm just thinking, what happens if one of his friends or a mutual acquaintance sees this, right? People start seeing that his wife is talking about him on TikTok and basically, you know, she's really mad at you. She was thinking about divorce. Like, I feel like it would be very embarrassing for him to deal with this, you know? And you're here talking about disrespect and you're posting your husband on TikTok making fun of him. Like, it's just crazy to me.
In most homes, the data supports this. Women do a disproportionate amount of the work. They just do. They do more of the cooking and the cleaning and the laundry and the childcare while also working full time. And men have more time for things like their hobbies, like golf, for example, or just working out, running a marathon.
Okay, these are oddly specific examples. I don't know if she's sort of spiteful at her husband for going golfing or something like that. This sort of makes sense if both of you are working like real hard full-time jobs outside. And yeah, then all of this makes sense. Like, you should split the responsibilities at home. And even then it sort of depends like who's, you know, has the potential harder job or whatever. Like, if he's working in an oil rig, I'm sorry, you better be doing the household chores, you know? It's not a competition. It's never been a competition. A marriage is a partnership, and it shouldn't exactly be 50-50. It's kind of like, you know, you help out whenever you get the chance, and you should want to help out because, you know, you love your wife and you love your husband, so you might cook for him or something like that, right? But regardless of what job this is, you work from home and you have a nanny. And apparently, as we'll come to learn in the following TikToks, you don't do the laundry or cook. Okay, here we got another one of her TikToks. POV, people found out that I don't do my husband's laundry and said I must not love him. Imagine their shock when they found out I don't cook his dinner either. Friendly reminder, laundry is a chore, not a love language. This is not a healthy marriage, it feels like. It feels like you are doing whatever you can to make sure your husband's life is as miserable as hell. Because, like, once he comes home from his lineman job, you know, very dangerous, you know, very physical work, very tiring, and he comes home, you don't even cook him dinner? So, like, how does that work? You waste time and money and do everything separately? That's what I don't understand. Like, it's just efficient for one person to, you know, handle most of the household chores and one person to handle most of the work or something like that. Now, of course, there's plenty of, you know, situations where both people do whatever. But, like, generally, even as a solo person, right? Suppose I'm living alone. I want to batch my tasks. Like, for example, I could cook every single day of the week, which is terribly inefficient. Rather, I'd meal prep, you know, especially if you're going to the gym and you need adequate protein in your meals and adequate nutrition, you meal prep, which I learned recently, by the way, fantastic. Yeah, you just meal prep, and then any chores, you batch them together as well. I don't know. This seems like you guys are hostile against each other, you know? So here's what people are saying. I understand the frustration, but the moment she took this to social media, she's the problem. I agree. Here's some quotes. My ex listed this as reasons for divorcing me. I work 72 hours a week minimum so she could stay at home with the kids. I did all the grocery shopping, the vast majority of the cooking, and ran the kids where they needed me, but I wasn't doing enough. It's such an entitled and toxic attitude, and I'm glad I'm out. My God, people are ripping into her, and I sort of understand why. Like, obviously, I imagine she does a lot of work around the house as well. She, you know, raising kids is not an easy job as well. But, you know, I just think it's too far, you know, taking it to TikTok and having the internet weigh in on this and basically have them, you know, insult your husband like, oh, wow, your husband just didn't do all of that work. So many men are like, why can't she just write a list or say it? Bro, y'all are so submissive and need orders so bad. That's why men do so well in the military, yet they think they are leaders. This has 6,000 likes. Oh my god. I don't see how that makes men submissive or whatever. You can't read someone's mind, I feel like. Am I being stupid here? Does he really have the time and energy to read your mind and know exactly what you want after coming home from work? I feel like that's just extra steps, and maybe in her world that is more justifiable. Like, if he really loves me, he would notice that I'm feeling bad and notice that I need help with this, and he noticed I'm exhausted with this. Sure, but also, if you really love them, you would just tell them and help fix your marriage, you know? Men understand this completely. It's called female solipsism. Okay, another word I need to Google. That's why this video is so frustrating. Too many women struggle to see things from their husband's perspective. Men do countless things for their wives every day that go unnoticed. So when a woman complains, acting like she carries the heavier load at home, it's not reality, it's victimhood, it's not facts, it's simply how she feels. Well, honestly, you know, in some scenarios, yes, you might have like a deadbeat husband or something like that who works a cushy office job, comes home 2 hours early, and, you know, plays 8 hours of video games instead of, you know, maybe helping out with the dishes or something like that. Obviously, you should be helping your wife if you see her like overworked and stuff like that. But in this particular case and how she was ranting, I don't think I agree with her, you know? Thinking about divorcing a good man and father because he forgot to take the kid's sippy cup out of the dishwasher is neurotic. I don't care. Okay, now let's check out some of the follow-up videos she made on this topic, because apparently her entire account is about this, which makes me really sad for her husband.
Yesterday, I told a really personal story about how I was considering divorcing my husband after being together for 16 years because our marriage felt unfair, specifically when it came to the work required to manage a home and raise kids and the mental load. And this is obviously a very common question I get, which is, what do we do to fix the situation? And so I will tell you. We came together one day and I said to him, like, I'm incredibly unhappy. I don't want to be unhappy anymore. And he came to me and told me how he was feeling, which was like he was feeling a lot of shame and embarrassment and frustration. And I was feeling alone and isolated. And the first thing we did was Fair Play, which is a game by Eve Rodsky, but she also has a book. That was our jumping off point. It's definitely not where we stopped. I think it is a really great tool for sharing the work. So essentially you get a deck of cards, or I've created a spreadsheet, which you can get. And in the spreadsheet, it basically lists all the tasks in your house: laundry, cooking, cleaning, buying birthday presents, all of those things. And in my spreadsheet, it says like who owns it, me or him. We have what it was and then the future state. And at first I owned like 65 and he owned 15. After we did the game, it was much more fair. I don't remember exactly what the numbers were.
Okay, I'm gonna make an educated guess here. Obviously, I don't know them personally. I've only seen a couple internet videos about them. But it seems to me their marriage is not happy at all, because it seems like she would love this arrangement now, reading all of her books or whatever. Getting him to do all the household chores, despite working as a lineman, is crazy. Meanwhile, you're here making a bajillion TikTok videos at this point, like just ranting about him, humiliating him online. I don't know. I feel like you shouldn't tolerate this type of behavior. Anyway, she finally does reveal the reasoning behind airing out her husband's dirty laundry online.
Pretty much dedicated all of my time to learning about the mental load and talking to women and men about their experiences and understanding this, because it is so complex. And I've created a guide. I have a course coming out about this topic to help you have these conversations.
Of course, she has a course coming out. They always do. Now she's trying to become a TikTok influencer while getting her husband to do half the chores. In my opinion, based on what I've seen, not a single soul should be taking your relationship advice. And I feel like your husband is extremely unlucky. He has to deal with someone as ungrateful as you. So naturally, a bunch of people were calling her out in the comment section of the videos. And here she is trying to reply to some of them, I guess.
I get comments like this all the time, but I do want to talk about it because I think it's a really important conversation for us to have with our partners when we talk about the mental load. So Carl here is saying, I am still waiting for you to take ownership of the lawn and the cars and all of the shit that breaks around the house. Men have their own load that most women don't help with. And here's the thing. I agree with part of what Carl is saying. I agree that everyone has mental load that they carry. I think the problem is we often don't look at the work we're doing as it pertains to our time and the mental energy it takes to do our tasks. So in a home, men might own things like the lawn or the cars or random things that break, whereas women own the monotonous, everyday, never-ending tasks like cooking, cleaning, and laundry.
Never-ending tasks like cooking and laundry, except you don't do any of them. You literally admitted in that TikTok that you don't do them. So listen, I get what she's saying. You know, stay-at-home moms are underappreciated. Some husbands can do a better job chipping in. Like, as I said, if you're working in a cozy office job and you have extra energy when you come home and your wife is just miserable dealing with the kids and stuff like that, and she needs a little bit of help, you should be helping. Obviously, it's not going to kill you to do a couple of chores, but if your wife is this ungrateful, man, I understand why you ain't doing any chores. If she starts posting you on TikTok, that's where the courtesy completely ends. If she starts treating you like a freaking toddler who she has to manipulate using some weird psychology so that you need to be disciplined or programmed, you pretty much got to get the hell out of there.
And what happens is men have tasks they can do alone, by themselves, with no kids around them, that happen infrequently, right? You're not mowing the lawn every single day, and mowing the lawn typically doesn't take a lot of mental energy. You're not having to think about much more than, are the blades sharpened, do we have gas, and is the grass wet, right? And if all those things are good, you're off. You're off to the races. You spend an hour by yourself with a podcast in your ears and you mow the lawn. Whereas women are often expected to do the things that are truly never ending. You cook breakfast, you clean up breakfast. The second breakfast is done, snack time. You make snacks, you clean up snacks, lunchtime, right? It is never ending.
Wow, that was very revealing. I feel like you would not survive a single second in a real job. But like, if you've been doing this stuff for years and years, you get pretty efficient at it, and you can pretty much knock out all of the day's tasks in a couple hours. You know, you batch all the chores together, batch all the cooking together, meal prep the meals for the rest of the week, and you know, suddenly you got yourself a lot of free time as well, which you can't really do as a job as a linesman. What are you gonna do? Build all the poles today and, you know, take the rest of the week off? Like, you don't even get that option, you know? Also, you have a literal nanny as well, so it's like, you can't even say like, oh, the kids are taking up too much time and stuff like that. Like, you're getting extra help as well. It's crazy. Also, about the lawnmower stuff, that is such a stupid and idiotic comparison. I swear to God. First off, you're not even talking about the actual work he does. This is some extra stuff he does on top to help you out, right? Like, your husband is literally getting thunderbolted by an electrical wire, and you're here at home making TikToks ranting about him. That's diabolical.
In between all of that, you're thinking about the food you've run out of, you're updating the grocery list, you're keeping track of what your kids like and what they don't like. That is the difference. The tasks that men typically own happen infrequently and don't take a lot of mental energy, whereas the ones women do take a ton of mental energy and are never ending. And this is the thing, a lot of women will come to their partners and they will say, hey, this doesn't feel fair. We need to talk about this. And men will get really defensive and they'll say, I'm doing a lot. I mow the lawn, I do all the manual labor.
He cooks for you. He does laundry. He mows the lawn. Like, how is this unfair? It's complete insanity. Now, she made yet another revealing video about how she actually thinks. She talks about how men get way more leisure time than women. Apparently, life is just 10 times easier for men, it seems. It's all roses and daisies for the husband, actually, just dealing with Pikachu every day.
Now, I don't know if you're familiar, but there's actually a leisure gap between men and women, where men have more time for things like hobbies and leisure than women do. Men have more time for hobbies. They have more time for hobbies that take them out of the house. Let's think golf, hunting, fishing, working on cars, right? All of these things take them outside of the home and typically are not done with kids. Whereas women's hobbies, they don't revolve around men, but they typically are done in the home and can be done while watching children. Women will say their hobbies are things like reading, knitting, gardening, baking. And men, they have hobbies that take them outside of the home. And these hobbies oftentimes don't just happen over an hour or two. They happen over extended periods of time, sometimes a full day or even a weekend hunting.
Heaven forbid a man takes a day off on the weekend too. If that was a weekday, you'd already be in divorce court by now. I feel like your wife hates her guts, man. I feel like she does not respect what you do. She can see every problem for women, whatever. She can see it from their perspective. But the second when it comes to thinking from a man's perspective and now how hard they work or contribute to the relationship or whatever, it's just complete blank. She has no understanding of empathy at all. By the way, it seems that TikTok girlies are eating some of this content up. And if the lawn isn't mowed, that sucks. Mom didn't make dinner, we starve. Are you kidding me? You can order food, bro. Calm down. Calm down. You both have equally important jobs. Holy shit. Let me know what you guys thought about all of this. Click this video for more content, and I guess I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.